pollen lives on, hay fever carries on. So what's your top tips for this weekend?
Well, as you said, we are going to have this pollen bomb. So what that means is that all the tree and grass pollen with this lovely weather is all coming at the same time. So as you said, people need to be really ready with their medication. It's probably a good idea to start now. Sometimes people start too late after they've already started their symptoms. Unfortunately, staying inside is a way to protect yourself from hay fever and also other allergens that are around, like dust and house mites. Keeping windows shut. This is so miserable, isn't it, for hay fever and sunny weather? But keeping windows and doors shut, and also things like cleaning and purifying the air actually makes a real difference, because all that pollen stays trapped on our clothes, even on our shoes. Dust in the house, all of those things contribute to allergy.
Where do you stand on lubricants? Things like Vaseline or, something like that. I mean, there's a lot of people that grease the inside of their nose with that. Does it do any good?
Yeah, so a lot of these physical ideas, rather than chemical or drug ideas, are actually really worth doing in combination with your medication. So absolutely, Vaseline around the nose, it traps the pollen, it stops the pollen going up your nose and irritating you. Things like air purifiers are a really good idea, again, because it's trapping those physical pieces of pollen. Not hanging your washing outside, because then the pollen sticks to all your laundry. So yeah, the physical things, wearing wraparound sunglasses. I know some of the high street stores now sell hay fever wipes, so you can make sure that the pollen is sort of wiped away from near your eyes and your nose. So those sort of physical ideas, or barrier ideas, if you like, are actually really good alongside your medication.
But I was saying there and being very thankful that I don't suffer from hay fever, but that can change at any time, as I understand it. That you can become susceptible.
Yeah, it does seem to have changed, actually. Yeah, it does seem to have changed over the last few years, and certainly in practice, particularly sort of during in the first summer after COVID, we had people saying to us, I didn't used to have hay fever, but I do now. And I think that's to do with how the pollen is carried and changes in sort of pollution and what we call particulate pollution. There's definitely changes, and people do change. Women often find there's a difference in their immune system after they've had a baby, and that can sort of change things. So yeah, some people do start to suffer and some don't. You said your brothers have it. Obviously there's a familial tendency there, and so there might be sort of years where you do get it when it's particularly bad.
And how do I know? Because I don't think I've got it, but I would say I've probably had a runny nose for a couple of months now, but I assume that's just because I'm run down. But then I'm suddenly thinking maybe it's hay fever. I've forever got a runny nose.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it could be hay fever, or it could be a sort of dust allergy within the house, which is also really common. I mean, 23% of people in the UK are allergic to tree and grass pollen. So, that's quite
really
high already.
Yeah.
So it's a quite high likelihood. So I would, if you wanted to test whether or not your runny nose is from hay fever, what I would do is I would take an antihistamine for 1 or 2 weeks. Don't take it in the morning because it might make it difficult for you to do your job, but take it before you go to bed, because obviously antihistamines can make people drowsy. And if the antihistamine is working, then there's your answer. Antihistamines are really well tolerated, safe medications. We prescribe them to little children, to old people. We find that they are very safe for our patients. So it's perfectly reasonable to try it to see if it helps you.
Good advice, Doctor.
Good advice.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Ellie Cannon there on what to do to protect yourself in this hay fever, this grass hay fever situation. Thanks, Ellie. Thanks so much. I honestly, Isabel, I don't mind your runny nose at all. No, I know.
Yeah, I think it's the aircon in here, actually. I'm already freezing.
Yeah, you are freezing.
I'm absolutely frozen.
That's really scary. Are you dead?
I might be dead, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what they say?
What?
Cold hands, warm heart. Just,
But I don't mind the runny nose. It's just when you wipe it with your hand and then you wipe it on your dress or something like that. You should use a handkerchief. You should.
You're cheeky. He's so cheeky.